Welcome back to Tactics Talk with Guido. Thanks for tuning in as always. I do appreciate your support, whatever format it comes in. We got a replay analysis on this episode. A Charioteer game, Tier 8 British TD with a turret. Recently buffed, we'll talk about that in a moment. From K2 with a lot of numbers from the clan Shift. Loaded into Redshire, and he is spawned in the south in a standard game. Which there are only standard games. That's not true. There are encounter games on Redshire. I stand corrected. I've corrected and stood corrected by myself. He's headed up to the standard TD sniping spot. Let's go ahead and get going. The Charioteer has been recently buffed with better gun depression, which has made it a much more comfortable TD to play. Of this entire line, it was probably one of the best. And it's even better now with the slight gun depression buff. The guns have been changed around in this line a little bit. Gun depression, some other things. Made them much better tanks. And I liked this one to begin with. You can see that K2 is 2-marked it, so he's got a pretty good idea what he's doing with the Charioteer. In his initial positioning, he has chosen this central ridge. He's got quite a good push going up on the west side and enough tanks on the east side to keep track of what's going on. And unfortunately, some rather important tanks way down in the southwest in a really ridiculously stupid place to be. Redshire. The critical terrain is the east side, period, dot. The middle needs to be watched, and if you have a couple TDs or snipers on the middle, that can be good. The east is nearly wholly useless. It is possible if you have a good collection of good fast tanks with good players in them to sweep that up and flank, but it is extremely difficult, and it's swept by fire from the TD positions, the southern one that K2, our hero, happens to occupy, and the northern one where all the bad guys are. This side is very difficult to use and ends up being a slogging, disgusting peekaboo mess. Some of the same can be said about over here, minus a lot of the sniping, provided you can get up and near these rocks. And at least there is some protection from getting waxed up from these sniper spots over here on the east side. If I called it the west, I was wrong. Over here on the east side. But winning this east side affords you a lot more opportunities than winning this west side does. Let's go ahead and watch what K2 is doing while I discuss the rest of it as far as positioning goes. I am generally okay with snipers sitting on this hill as long as there's only one or two. The teams that drive me bat crap crazy are when there's 5 or 6 sitting on that hill. He takes a shot at us. IS-6 is very foolish, driving around in the middle of the map for some reason. I think if we looked at him, he'd be pretty much a brand new player with his shiny premium. And he's driving it around the middle of the map. So that's not a great idea. You can see that they being the Reds, have sent quite a few tanks over to the east side. And we have K2 popping. Multiple Reds being silly and hanging out in the open. There is an open spot right there as you're pushing up into the rocks, where if you get stuffed where that IS-6 is and you cannot from the north get up into those rocks, then you're going to have a very bad day. And one of the reasons why the green team is able to push as far forward as they are is there's no artillery in this game. So they're able to stuff the red team before the red team can get up against the rocks. And now they're in big trouble because they're just getting absolutely hammered from K2 sniping from here and the green guys winning for the most part over on the east side. And you can see that the west side is the standard Pika scrum going on over there. So K2 is taking some shots. He's got lots of shots. T-28, IS-6. There goes the mutant. There's a bat chat trolling around. Looks over at the AT. The AT is actually on the other side of the hill there. There's a bit of a ridge that he cannot be seen through. Missed a shot opportunity there, I think, K2. But you wait for it and you get a better one. And down goes the... or there goes some more hit points of the AMX-65T. You know there are going to be several TDs sitting up on the corresponding red sniper hill at about C4 and 5, roughly there, where the Type 59 was last spotted. And there's a T-28 prototype who's hanging out on it right there. Put a shot into the side of his turret. Guy's trying to get away. Holy cow, I'm seen. and you've got a Type 59. And as a matter of fact, there are multiple tanks over here at K2. I don't know if you noticed. I don't think you actually have a shot on either one of those, but later on there's going to be, I believe, a Schwartz up there, or a Mutz, whichever one of the two it is. And he hangs up there for quite a long time before you notice. So it's just a case of, while you're reloading, zoom out a little bit, look around. There you go, just like that. There he is. And see if you can get a shot on him. And he dives behind the rock. Yep, there you go, searching around for some other guys who have shots on them. And unfortunately, your team takes a few hits right there. And now they are pushing in on this AMX and the IS-6B, the AT-15. But there are multiple TDs up there, and right now your team is now exposed to the fire from the TDs that are on the TD hill over there. Looking for the AMX, maybe the AT-15. And now we're starting to look around for shots a little bit. Knock the tree down, not ideal. Looking for shots. Our guys are pushing in. Oh, there might have been one there actually you missed. There goes the Ferdinand. There goes the T-28. Uh-oh. Things are not looking good over there. Another shot into the AMX. That's good. IS-6B. The 100.01's pushing in because he's the big armored guy. Takes another hit. Looks like he's getting flanked. The RHM is hanging back. More than likely taking fire from the TDs up on their hill. And now your team is starting to lose here. And the RHM and the T-92 are alone against heavies who have somehow survived over there. So let's back this up to where I said, you know, I'm okay with people sitting on this hill and doing the sniping thing. But here's the key to that whole sniping from a hill, great position thing. You have got to get off that spot when it is no longer working for your team. And I would say that that happened a while ago. When you saw that your team was pushing through and starting to win over there on the east, I think you had two better choices than sit there. One was swing over to them because this is quite a zippy tank and you could have actually gone over to the east side. The other one is to move up a little bit on this ridge, maybe start to get into some of these saddles right here and start looking for these guys and put pressure on them. Because guess what? Your east or west guys actually won. And now they're kind of through, but you sitting back on this back edge, you're not going to get much over here more than likely. And really where the enemy is sitting over here in this area. You've got the stir back here as well. The point is, sitting on the hill continuously for this long really isn't helping your team. And this is my biggest beef with people who go to spots like this. A lot of times they can rack up some damage and do a nice job, but they're not really reacting to the flow of the battle. They're only letting the battle flow around them. There's a miss on the Mutz. Mutz is trying to get in there. The RHM's in big trouble. And we're just kind of looking for him. There's the T-92. He's trying to get in there and help a little bit as well. And you will notice that the salt is starting to fly as people start to chuck their recriminations and bad vibes around. And the RHM, I believe the T-92 and the 100.01 all get into it at one point or the other about how nobody moved up. And it goes exactly to what I was talking about just a moment ago, that there is a time when you need to move forward and get your gun in the game. So again, let's go back to, just to beat the dead horse, this position right here. I'm okay with it, and I've said that multiple times, but it only goes to okay with it. For my money, I'd have much rather had you over on the east side helping your heavies win on that flank. If your gun had been in there, probably would have gone a lot better. And you were taking some hit points off of them from the side, so there was an advantage to your team on that. But after you farmed that a little bit, I probably would have flexed over there and helped those guys. And maybe you wouldn't have lost so many. And there goes... If you would have come out early, it would have been a different game. And he's sort of commenting what I just talked about. That it took a while for the RHM to get forward and start helping those guys, but I think he was probably not too interested in getting blasted in the side by all the TDs sitting on the TD hill over there. And pretty soon what you're going to see down there is somebody starts saying something to the effect of, "You're dead, so shut up, you don't have a valid opinion." And that is another subject that is always interesting to me. So apparently the only way to have a valid opinion is if you live, right? Well, that's interesting because I don't know any even of the best players who have lived through every one of their games. And sometimes the guy who dies early actually has a point and knows exactly what he's talking about. And one of the reasons he died early is because you did something very stupid for the team. But now we're starting to throw how much damage we did out there, which is also pretty irrelevant to the argument of whether it was a good idea to do whatever it was that you did. So I would say that if you're the kind of player who thinks that just because someone died, they don't have anything to say about your play or the team's play or the situation that's going on, you probably need to disabuse yourself of that notion right off the bat. And if you're watching my channel at all, then and you think you're starting to get it, then you might not be getting it if you still believe that that is a thing. Obviously, if you died stupidly, then that has a lot to do with whether what your point is matters too much. I mean, a terrible player, on the face of it, probably has less experience and background than a good player does. You have to assess each situation as you get to it. But again, just the fact that you died or that you did a bunch of damage or whatever probably doesn't make your opinion automatically right or wrong. Point of it is that you learn from it. And in fact, when you die is probably the most important time for you to learn something, because clearly something went wrong, right? You got killed. There is probably a learning point in there somewhere that if you died, you have something to learn from it. That's probably the Udes, I'd imagine. Yep, there he is. He's hanging out in the back. The AT-15's way over there. IS-6 was seen way over on the east side. I'm going to find him, blast that guy down. And we're still arguing about damage over there. So no one's really getting the point in that argument. But I've already beaten that dead horse. How many dead horses do we have out here? We got several. And we have a pretty good game shaping up, obviously, for our hero. K2 is at 4,958 with 401 assists. Well on their way to winning. And for you, K2, on this, man, I mean, I'd have just come blitzing off that hill and went and find these guys. You know what I mean? It's time to just end this. Get yourself some more hit points. You have a few hit points to give, so it's unlikely you're going to get absolutely waxed by these guys. I mean, don't go YOLO screaming into the middle of them, but get on your horse, go find these dudes, spot them, and start killing them. And now we're calling out the clans, because the clans have a lot to do with it, and there he is. I saw this damage initial. I'm like, what the heck? He went to HE, and I'm like, what are you doing shooting Hesh? Was that a miss hit? Hesh, come on. You don't need Hesh. Probably not going to do any good with Hesh on either one of these guys unless you can get to the rear. Got the IS-6 with his spaced armor and tracks on the side, and you got the AT with thick armor. We're just going to roll onto this AT, and we're going to let him have it right with 16 hit points. Take that. Another nice thing about the Charioteer here is that it reloads quite quickly. He's going to come up and nuke this guy. We'll just Hesh him to death. Take that. Nice game, man. 5,121. Ace tanker in the Charioteer. Good initial positioning. If I had one beef, it would be that I don't think you pushed off that hill early enough. But you definitely got it done. It's hard to argue with the result overall, so nice job. Just remember, the guys are fighting hard on the flanks while you are camping on the sniper hill. Would at some point probably appreciate a little bit more direct help than just sitting on the hill. That's my only point right there. Dead horse beaten. We will see you. Thanks for tuning in. Bye-bye.